Okay guys, welcome to today's STPL. We are here for week 2 of season 4. We're just going to get started up with our first two series today. We've got Red versus NaS, that's going to be coming up second. And first we will have pSi versus ReV, which should be a lot of fun, I'm hoping. We're going to see the normal format as always. So 1 to 4, the lineups are selected in advance and all the games are played at the same time, which means they all will be shown. And the set 5, if we get to it, if it's 2 for 2, will be the ace match, which meant any player could compete again, and any additional player as well that would be around. We've got 5 good maps coming up for you today. We're going to be introducing 2 more of our new maps. Blindside, a 2-player map, and Tear of Goddess, which is kind of like a modern evolution of Luna, which I'm really excited to see how that's actually going to play out now. It's been a while since, well, it's been since Friday since I've actually been casting the STPL, so it's been a little bit. I've got my VR working today, so I finally seem a little less robotic, but I guess I am still kind of robotic to some people. I know there's some people that don't like the avatar thing. I'm still really not sure if I'm going to keep using it, but just for now, why the hell not? Until I can figure out what I want to do, I'm not going to buy a new green screen or anything like that. So either way, hopefully you guys are geared up for some fun games today. We've got a lot of really cool games, a lot of really cool teams coming at you. So hopefully we can get into the games fairly shortly and we will have lots and lots of fun. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to be heading into our first series starting from now. We'll just have a quick look at how the rankings are panning out as well, as that is something to look out for, because as we get further into the season, that's going to start mattering. So, how is the season looking so far? Obviously, it is still week 1, or it's week 2 now, should I say. So, it's not really too much to say after the first season, or the first week of course, but Weeko in front, tied with Seoul and NaS, all 3 of those teams getting 4-0 victories. IRK in second, NetWars in third, Red in fourth, and then in fifth, and well, fifth you've got Ash. Tied 6th is Storm, DM and Clan Revolution. And that's it for the team so far. Obviously there's 9 more weeks to still go. Thank you, EL, for the raid. I'm not sure your people are kind of ready for what they're about to watch, but we'll see how this goes. Let's have a look at the player rankings as well. We've got the top 10 here. The cool thing is we've got some players that did retire previously, like Eonzerg, back playing again. Noob is back again in the STPL as well, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But the top 10, this is the STPL specific ELO system. And it's something that someone helped me design and it works pretty well. But you can see in the top 10 we've got some absolute monsters like DeWalt, Scan, Koga, all playing an insane amount of games and doing incredibly well. Let's introduce our first couple of teams here. Starting us off is going to be Storm. Once again, Storm, one of the only teams that sent me a load of different photos, and mitak still stands as one of my favorite ones. Given the fact he went out specifically with a pickaxe to get a photo taken, which is really cool. But Storm, historically in the STPL, they were never one of the top teams, but they still showed a lot of heart throughout everything. And they're back again in Season 4 to test them out again. They did lose 4-0 against Psi, which a lot of people would say, well, that's to be expected. Storm are the triple champions, but Seoul are the triple champions, but Storm came out and they did incredibly well. There was 2 games that could have swung in their favor. It was incredibly close. And they've definitely given themselves a strong start going into the season. Their opponent's going to be the 4-time playing Clan Revolution. Clan Revolution haven't historically done super well in Season 3. They did the best they had, with Medinho doing incredibly well. But this season so far, they lost Medinho at the start of the season to IRK, so they may be struggling to find their feet just a little bit, but as I did mention, there is a long period still to go. Let's have a quick look at the lineups we're going to be looking at this, or today in today's match. We've got a ZvP starting us off with Prase versus Aeternum. We've got mitak versus Hirmu in a ZvZ on Blindside. Michael versus Scarfs in a ZvP. And I think the first game is actually, yeah, it's a PvZ, so that makes sense. And then in Game 4, we've got a ZvP between Cold and NarsiL. So if you like Protoss and Zerg, this is definitely the match for you to be watching. No Terrans here. I realize Aeternum's flag didn't get updated. I completely forgot to do it over the weekend, so I will update that after this cast. I completely forgot about that, but he is one of the fellow Latvian players along with CRVT, I believe. Yeah, it was the same issue the previous cast, but let's have a look at the first two players we've got. Starting us off here is going to be Prase. His win ratio is not really anything to be praised about, but he's still come out every single week for his team. He is very, very, trying to think of the word, creative in the way he plays Brood War, and just overall, he's a really, really fun player to watch. So hopefully today he's going to have a little bit of better luck against Protoss, given he is 0 for 10 at the moment. Could this be his big victory? Could this be his way back on to the comeback trial? The person standing in front of him is going to be Aeternum. Aeternum hasn't played much in the STPL so far, but the game he did play was quite a fun one. So let's see how this is going to go. We're going to go into one of our brand new maps. Once again, it's going to be Tier of Goddess. So Tier or Tears of Goddess is a very much a modern take on Luna. The base layouts are pretty much exactly the same. The middle is slightly more constricted than Luna, which could change the way this plays a little bit here. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to play. It should be one of our more standard maps in the map pool, I would say. Out of all the maps we've got, if there's one of the brand new ones that someone can look at and be like, I can probably play this without any preparation, it's going to be Tears of Goddess. So let's have a look as we get into game number 1. It's pSi versus ReV here on Tears of Goddess. Okay, starting us off here in the top right hand position, we do have the yellow Zerg fighting for pSi. It's Prase. And his opponent spawning down here in the black fighting for ReV. It's Aeternum. Okay, so ZvP on this map. This is actually the first non-PvP game I've seen on this map at all. So it's going to be cool to see how this is actually going to play out. It should play relatively standard. There's nothing about this map which is so weird. But still, it's a very, very standard map. Lots to be said about this, but we've got the gateway coming up here to wall this off. Which should help Aeternum a little bit. Obviously, he is going for a gate first, so going to be looking to put a little bit of pressure on and go from there. Okay, so we've got Prase going for an early expansion here. This is going to be a 12 hatch, which one gate expand is actually built to counter. The gateway first was essentially built as a way to stop Zergs just going 12 hatch over and over again. It looks like Prase is going to take a risk here, thinking that maybe his opponent isn't going to be playing too aggressive. And maybe that will pay off for him. We'll have to see how good Aeternum's Zealot and Probe Micro will be. Interestingly enough, for a second I thought there was 2 drone scouts going out, and I was like, huh, this is strange. We do have the spawning pool coming in. Again, he's going to go for a gas most likely after this. Now, I wonder if Prase is going to play this aggressively. When you look at the Protoss choke here, this is quite a big, wide area outside of the Protoss's entrance, which means that big Hydra busts could be very, very powerful, because you can get a really big arc here and at least take down the gateway. And there is quite a bit of room for cannons, but maybe not as much as something like Fighting Spirit. Now looks like the hatchery went up with no problems. Of course, as we know, the first Zealot is going to be out on the map. The drone did scout the Zealot leaving the gateway. At least I believe it saw that. He is going to see the Nexus, and he saw the gateway first anyway, so he should know he's going to need some lings at the very least. The first Zealot is actually in the base right now. Sorry, that got there very, very quickly, but he is going to be chasing away the drones, seeing if he can get some extra damage. Nice moving shot on the probe there. And it looks like the lings are going to try and take an engagement, but getting behind the minerals is going to make it very difficult to actually engage into this. And Aeternum coming in with a second Zealot now behind this, going to cause a lot of problems for our Zerg player. Prase doing a pretty good job holding on, not losing, I believe, a single drone as of yet. But it is very annoying to have to deal with this kind of Zealot play. He's going to get behind the minerals once again and just make it really difficult for poor Prase to actually engage properly into this. And there we go, the probe gets taken down. If he just comes in from multiple angles, he should be able to take down this Zealot without too much problem. I think maybe he's over-respecting the Zealot here, if that makes any sense. This Zealot definitely getting way more value than it deserves to be. He just needs to kind of A-move into the Zealot, but he's not feeling confident enough that he can kill it. And this means the Zealot's going to get into the mineral line again. Doesn't manage to kill any drones, but there's still two Zealots at the front. One of them doing a large chunk of damage to this hatchery. Looks like Prase is maybe feeling a little bit flustered here as this game gets into its further stages here. Looks like Ling's going to try and surround these three Zealots. Zealot's doing a very good job microing back. Finally going to lose two of them. That last Ling just clipped two of them straight to death. But there's still no drones being added on. Prase is up to 20 probes already. He's going into his, Aeternum's going into his cybernetics core, and he is getting ready to transition into the mid game. Looks like the Zealots have finally been cleaned up. The third base, while this was going on, was built. So hopefully that's going to work out. Looks like Prase wants to go for a little bit of a counter here, going into Ling speed before Lair and building a lot of Lings here, trying to chase down these Zealots, maybe hoping that his opponent won't have enough cannons back home to defend. But with two Zealots here, walling this off, this looks Zealot or Ling tight to me, and he's even going to add a second cannon as well. This could be a very, very quickly failed timing attack here by Prase. If you think the stream is lagging, there's actually also a stream on YouTube that you can turn the quality down on, which might help. And the chat is connected to Restream, so I can see that as well. Looks like the Lings aren't really going to be achieving too much in the middle of the map. Prase is going to actually go back home with a lot of his Lings. I think he was planning on going for a Ling all-in, but it just didn't work, so he's just come back home with his Lings. And I don't know if that's really the right way. Is 1080p the only option on YouTube as well? Oh, Prase has misrallied two drones down here. Oh no. Could you imagine if he just builds a hatchery now? Oh, the poor drones. They were two drones he badly, badly needed. He was already down on drones from before, where he was building so many Lings. And that's something. Grass is saying in chat, who is the leader of pSi, that Prase is drunk. I don't know how true that is, but looks like the Corsair's coming out. Gonna get at least one Overlord before the Hydras can start coming in. There's actually a Zealot in the top right. I couldn't quite see it because of the menu, but it goes down. The Corsair gets the Overlord and he's going to fly it away. Prase is going to start droning up again, but if you notice, there's just no drones on the natural whatsoever. So this has got to be a timing attack here. He has to go and do some damage somehow. He's got a lot of... oh my goodness, so many zealots have actually ran into the third base right now. One drone going down. He's supply blocked again because another overlord went down. And it looks like the Lings are getting ready to try and go for another counter again, but there's just so much defense. I think Prase may be done. I don't think there's too much he can do here. He's going to defend these zealots, but I mean, at what cost? He's down by 30 workers. And I know it's normal for a Zerg to have less workers than a Protoss, but this is just crazy. There's 3 Corsairs in his main base, just sitting over the hatchery, and he just can't do anything with them. Oh my god, he's going to get another Overlord. He's going to supply block Prase again. And Hydra's trying to come to defend against this, but it's just too much. Yeah, Dark Holiday is definitely not a giant, by the way. I met him in person and he's quite short. Shots fired at Doc. Yeah, but I mean, compared to me, everyone is short, right? I'm 6'5". I'm 195, man. That's too big. Like, I'm a giant. I'm an actual giant. Okay, it looks like a DT going to be heading into the natural. Now, this is just after an Overlord has spawned, so it shouldn't do too much damage. But Prase's units are all busy down here defending against the Zealots. The Corsairs coming in, killing the Overlord. 5 kills, 6 kills on the TT already. And he could actually just fly this into the main. And looks like the DT going to get into the main now. There's 3 Overlords actually flying away from the mineral line right now. I think this is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back. We're finally up to 22 drones, but that is going to drop slowly but surely. Killing the Overlords is actually going to probably help Prase know that something is going on. But it definitely looks like Prase may be a little bit drunk this game. And GG! Prase taps out as the Dark Templar gets 16 kills. And that's going to take us into game number 2 when we get back after this short break. See you guys soon. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to be heading into game number 2 between pSi and ReV. Right here we're going to have mitak. Mitak is one of the few people in the STPL to have played this map already, at least in a tournament game. He played in one of the map test tournaments. He won, if I remember rightly, against... who did it? Rheinmetall maybe? I can't remember. It was a ZvT. And yeah, Doc Holiday, that is the... that's Parodius. Parodius is really cool. I really love Parodius. I've been playing the Saturn version. It wasn't Rheinmetall, but it was Aeternum, I'm fairly certain. He won with Ultras late game on Blindside. But basically, mitak, really cool guy. He works in the mines all day, then comes back home to play Brood War. I don't know if he's a miner, but he has a pickaxe for some reason. So there we go. Let's have a look at his opponent. Going to be for ReV, it's Hirmu. Now, Hirmu is one of the coolest Finnish players. There's not too many Finnish players left in Brood War. I think there's Napoleon, Hirmu, rOuta, and Arkneon. But Hirmu, the captain of ReV, once again, he's playing another ZvZ. Because basically he's not allowed to play any matchup that isn't ZvZ. And I feel sorry for him because ZvZ is so volatile. And he comes out, he plays some really cool maps, he plays some really cool games, and then he gets ZvZ all the time. So there we go. Oh, Lucky Noob said in chat about mitak, he's digging the graves of his enemies. That's really good. Okay, let's have a look at the map we're going into. It's one of my favorite maps from the map test tournament. It is Blindside. It's 2-player. It has a very similar layout to something like Carthage 3, where you have the path through the middle and the bases are in 12 and 6. Either side of the very center there is a forest like on Whiteout, which means you can't really see very much, but I don't think that's going to come into effect very much. It is going to be a ZvZ. We're going to see some early Lings, some early Mutalisks, and then likely someone tapping out. So let's get in to game. Just press and start on the replay so I don't forget to do that first. Let's get into game number 2. Okay, starting us off here in the 12 o'clock position, we do have in the, I guess this is like the grey, is Hirmu fighting for ReV. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom middle in the red, fighting for pSi. It's mitak. Now, I saw Doc Holiday in chat asking what this map was. This was one of the maps that was designed and made entirely with the STPL Season 4 map contest in mind. We picked 6 of the maps up in the end and I put them all in the season. I maybe went a little bit too far with the amount of brand new maps we put in. But looks like we've got Hirmu going for the gas trick here to get an extra drone out before he goes for his sunken. He could go for an early hatchery as well, not sunken, I mean pool. But looks like mitak playing on 9 at the moment. Overlord coming out. Not sure if mitak's going to go for an early expansion. And his opponent is obviously going for a quicker hatchery, most likely. Yeah, there we go. So hatchery on 10 supply here to get the additional, well, to get the hatchery a little bit faster. Now we've got the gas and pool coming up for mitak. He's not going for a 12 hatch, which is going to give him a little bit of an advantage over Hirmu's opening, but given the spawn distances are quite far away from each other, and it is a relatively standard map, apart from the forest in the middle that works like Whiteout, I think Hirmu should be fine. I mean, usually going for like a 10 hatch is indicative of some kind of Ling all-in. So it could be that mitak is the one who is going to need to watch out. But mitak actually going to go for an expansion on 11 supply as well. So it's not going to be straight Lings from mitak going to expand first. So Hirmu is going to be feeling pretty good against his, well, about his opening here. NarsiL asking in chat if Hirmu practices ZvZ, and Hirmu said every Sunday in STPL. It does seem true that whenever I seem to be watching you play, or whenever you turn up, you're always playing ZvZ, but we've got Link Speed coming in for mitak, whereas Hirmu is actually going to... Oh, Hirmu going to be going for Link Speed as well, not going for a quicker layer, and actually stopping mining gas. So this is going to be a Lingle in here. He's going to be using all of his drones to get as many Lings as humanly possible to run straight across the map. Now, of course, it's ZvZ. mitak is going to see these Lings leaving the base. His speed is actually going to be done before Hirmu's is, and he will have the defender's advantage. But let's see how this is going to play out. Obviously, as he goes over the center of the map, you'll see this little high ground pod that Minerals put in here to make going through the middle a little bit easier for small armies, but a lot harder for large ones. Now here we go. Looks like Hirmu going to be going to engage down here on mitak's Lings. Looks like mitak's speed is going to be done way before, though. So Hirmu is actually going to be in trouble. He's going to have to fall back with his Lings. He's going to be trying to get back to the high ground, but look at when speed comes in. It makes things so much harder for the player without speed. So much extra damage being done by Hirmu here. He's going to get on top of this ramp in the middle, which makes this a very interesting point of contention in early game ZvZ. But mitak is going to get the better engagement, I think, here. He gets the front Lings. The back Lings actually take the low ground, so they're going to be fighting back uphill. It looks like Hirmu does actually manage to do that. He's going to push forward once again. And let's see what we're doing here. Now, there is an Overlord going back in to check what's still coming, but it's still nothing but Lings. No additional gas has been mined. The game is going to end here one way or the other. Either Hirmu is going to overpower his opponent, or mitak is going to get Mutalisks and win the game. The lair is done, no Spire is up just yet. Every single bit of money is going into defense right now because mitak knows as long as he holds this, he is going to be in an incredible advantage. And he is doing a very, very good job so far. And if mitak can obviously win this game, it's going to tie up the series 1-1, which makes the series even more exciting. Now, for some reason, Hirmu has actually fallen back with all of his Lings, and I'm not quite 100% sure why. I guess it was because he did lose that early engagement. Maybe he feels like he just doesn't have the kind of unit numbers to be able to go into this again, so he's actually going to go for his lair, but I mean, when you look at how late the lair is compared to mitak's, like, Hirmu doesn't even have any vision over the main base of mitak right now, so he doesn't know the Spire's on the way. Is he going to go for an Evo Chamber? Is that how he's going to play this out? Or is he going to just try and play this straight up and go for Mutalisks? I hear him saying that mitak had more Lings, so that's why he fell back. I guess it makes sense. Looks like mitak is going to sniff that he has more. He doesn't even need to sniff that he has more Lings. He can see it with his Overlord. And Hirmu is going to be trying to come in from behind to get a better engagement. This is actually a lot of Lings. If he can surround this, that would be incredibly good. Okay, it looks like Hirmu getting ready for a sandwich here. mitak's units just unable to see the Lings of Hirmu right now. Oh, and here he goes. He finds them. This is not what Hirmu wanted. He wanted to come in for that sneaky sandwich. And looks like he is going to go back behind, go round once again. But to go there, it means mitak's Lings are going to be undefended at the front. There's not many Lings here for Hirmu. mitak going to jump in, doing a lot of damage. But the concave doing really well for Hirmu here. And he is going to clean all this up now. Hirmu, if anything, needs to counterattack right now. He has to stop mitak from building too many Mutalisks. And mitak's misread this. He's going for Scourge. Scourge are not going to help him whatsoever. He needs Lings and Mutas right now because he is in a lot of trouble. Hirmu coming over with a ton of Lings right now. Aspire not even done. The Scourge are going to do absolutely nothing. He does actually kill an Overlord. But without the Mutalisks, without the Lings, how is he going to hold on to his natural hatchery here? Hirmu can just right click on this and kill it, but it looks like he wants to go for the kill. And he may well be able to do it. There's no sunk and there's no defense. And this incredibly delayed timing attack coming in. He's going to try and go for the gas. Maybe no. He should just go for the drones. Just go for the jugular. And there's no Lings back at the base. I thought that was a counterattack, but it wasn't. A lot of the drones going down. Hirmu actually going to come from a very weird position and actually win the game here. mitak down to 2 drones. Hirmu up to 10. But all of mitak's tech is gone. The spawning pool about to die as well. And GG, mitak taps out. Hirmu gets his win. He finally breaks his losing streak in ZvZ and takes a win here against mitak. Okay, we'll be back in just a few minutes for game number 3. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to be heading into game number 3 between pSi and ReV. ReV are currently up 2-0, and pSi is going to look to keep his team's dream alive here, keep the pride of Bulgaria alive with a win over Scarfs if he can. Now, he came very, very close to beating Zealot on I think it was last Friday we saw it. And overall, Michael has played pretty strong. His wins, losses hasn't really proven that so far, but he's definitely someone to look out for on pSi. I think he just needs to kind of work on his confidence just a little bit. Let's have a look at his opponent. Fighting over here for ReV is going to be Scarfs. Scarfs, much like Michael, hasn't had too much success, but hasn't played too many games either. His game against dsaqwe on I think it was last Monday, we saw NaS versus ReV. Unfortunately for Scarfs, the game didn't go too well for him against dsaqwe, so he is going to be looking to get a little bit of power, a little bit of pride back into his gaming here. And I've only just realized that the photos for the players who don't have photos still says Season 3. I need to update that. Whoops. Let's get in. The map is going to be Neo Moon Glaive. Neo Moon Glaive, a 3-player map. The last time we saw this was back in 2018, back in June. We've only actually had a single PvP on this map somehow so far. This was used in a single round of the STPL Season 1. It was used in the playoffs as well. It's a very, very fun map to play on, a very, very fun map to watch. So let's get into it. The last PvP we had here was nearly 35 minutes. Let's see if we're going to have a long game or are we going to have a short one as we get into game number 3. Okay, starting us off here in the bottom right hand corner in the hot pink, fighting for pSi, it's Michael. And his opponent spawning up here in the 12 o'clock position, fighting for ReV, it's Scarfs. Now, we've not had a look at these recently. Looks like we have got a probe going out into another map, so that is something to watch out for. I do want to redo these. Like, I don't want to sort of leave these as they are, so I am going to have a look at these. But let's throw up a cheerful. We've got some really, really nice cheerfuls made this season so far. And we'll check what's going on in the middle of the map soon. Matrix Revolutions. I really like this one. I saw it and I was like, this is amazing. So I think Lucky Noob made this. Good job. But still really, really cool. Got some cheerfuls going. We've got a proxy gateway in the middle of the map. We've got 2 gates actually. Yeah, so I want to, if possible, I want to basically re-record all of the cheerful stuff. So yeah, now unfortunately for Michael, he's mis-scouted, so he just about doesn't see these gateways coming up. It's quite hard to scout that location. Scarfs has prepared this pretty well. This is a place where pros used to proxy as well, because it's just outside of the normal scouting pattern. But obviously when he gets to his opponent's base and sees nothing, he is going to know that there is going to be proxy gateways coming out. So he immediately puts up his second gateway. He puts up an extra pylon. And that is definitely going to help him out. He needs as much help as he can possibly get in this series, because pSi are currently down 2-0. If they lose this game, they will be heading out here. Now, there is a proxy pylon. Now, he's going to be able to do this to build a shield battery. Thank you for the 29-bit cheer. Cheer him for ReV there as well with the cheer function. Pretty cool. I mean, this mana pylon kind of blocking this mineral field. It kind of blocks this one as well for some reason. But the important thing is that he needs to worry about is he needs to kill the pylon. Because if the zealots start getting into his base and the shield batteries there, all of a sudden, it's much harder to deal with. There is obviously a lot of probes here, but the first hit does go to our Protoss hero Scarfs here. Michael falling back, the shield barrier about to be unpowered. There we go, the pylon goes down already. And now he just needs to make sure that he focuses on these zealots. One of them goes down already, but he does get a couple of probes in the process. The important thing for him is making sure he gets probes, because Michael is eventually going to pull very, very far ahead if he's not careful. Another zealot coming in, but with 3 zealots out here in the middle of the map, this could be time for Scarfs to turn back and go back home. But he's still going to continue to send these down, trying to keep these alive, but he basically needs every single zealot right now, because the more zealots that go down, the further and further behind he's going to be. And it looks like Michael has done the perfect defense here, and this could be a very, very quick game. The probe count is fairly equal, but with the amount of zealots that Michael has managed to save, he can go for a very big counterattack here, and there's going to be nothing back home to defend. A single zealot here could be a matter of life or death for Scarfs, as he really doesn't have anything going back on at home. The core is coming up, so he wants to transition into Dragoons. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the 2 Zealots in the main getting ready to try and counter, but he has to defend his main base. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I wonder if he's just going to send them in as soon as he sees this Zealot. He doesn't even have the money to build a Dragoon when it comes up. He's trying to save up. Looks like the Zealot from Michael going after the gas probes. Maybe not the best solution. But the shield barrier going down, not that that was ever going to do anything again. Good glitching on the probes by Scarfs, though, to keep this Zealot from killing all of his probes. And looks like he's got a Zealot back here to defend, so this isn't that bad of a situation. He actually comes in with those 2 Zealots, gets another probe, gets a second probe. Can he get another one? He's fighting 2 versus 1 as well. Michael Zealot not taking the best engagement there, gets a 3rd probe. Can he get a 4th? Yes, he can. A 4th and a 5th going down. These 2 assassin squad by Scarfs, giving Scarfs that lead in the work account. And he's going to pull away. He should really keep running these around, but I think he assumes they're dead, so he's going to stop those. We've got Michael, though, coming in with his own counter. It's 4 versus 3. The 3 are on the high ground. If he can get an engagement on the ramp, he's going to be in a good spot. The target firing by Michael's Zealots doing a little bit better here. The probes are being pulled as well. He knows how dire this is, but it looks like all of the Zealots go down. A great set of micro by Michael, and GG is called. Scarfs taps out. He cannot do anything against those Zealots in his main, and that is going to take us in to game number 4 after this short break. Okay guys, welcome back. We are here for game number 4 between pSi and ReV. Michael kept the dream alive for pSi there and gave them hope to stay alive in the series. It's now 2-1 in favor of ReV, and Cold is going to step up here for the first time in the STPL in a very long time to jump up to see if he can keep things going. Now Season 2 was when pSi bailed out because they were a little bit busy, and that was in 2020. We actually got through Season 3 here, right? We got to Season 3 and we did Season 4 in the same year. That's like unprecedented. But either way, Cold has done okay so far in the STPL. He's not actually won against a Protoss player, so NarsiL is going to be feeling pretty good about that. Now, if we have a look at NarsiL's stats as well, NarsiL, one of the only Portuguese players in the league, I believe, also hasn't won against Zerg, so this is going to be a first for both of them in the STPL. One of them is guaranteed to win here, so they'll be able to break their losing streak, which they'll be very, very happy with. The map we're going to be going into is going to be Desert Dwellers. Desert Dwellers is a very, very cool map. We had a really, really nice CVP on here between Yeti and Eriador before. So let's get into it. It's going to be game number 4. It's on Desert Dwellers, made by Minerals, here in the STPL Season 4. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position in the red, fighting for ReV. It's NarsiL. Who's also in chat, if that means anything. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand corner in the off-green again, fighting for pSi. It's Cold. Thank you, Neo Tokyo, in the YouTube chat, by the way, for saying love your graphics, great production. Means a lot. I put a lot of work into all my production stuff, so I'm glad people like it. If there's one thing I've done more than... Like, when I first set up tournaments, I wanted to make something that looked professional even though I was an amateur, and I like to think I'm slowly getting there. There's still a long way to go, lots of stuff I need to do. But with every season, I like to think everything gets a little bit better. If you want to check out what my production looked like when I first started casting, there's VODs on my YouTube channel from the very first ever season of the STPL when it was more like a hide behind pro gamer nicknames, and that was from 2015, and you can check out what that looked like. Forge Fast expand coming up here. I'm guessing you can wall in with this, but this seems like a very open path to defend. I guess it's maybe not, but... Okay, so we're going to hatchery coming up here. That was an overpull into the hatchery. Cold does get that up without NarsiL doing anything to it, so it isn't going to delay it at all. Going to be feeling pretty good. Yeah, this feels like a very wide choke, but I mean, you do have these 2 ramps that you can defend. They're ramps which are also bridges as well, which is kind of cool. NarsiL in chat asking what a dawdle is. It's a slang word for male genitalia in German. And I keep saying free the dawdle. Yeah, the dawdle is the logo of Clan Red, but then I said that they need to change it, so rOuta made the red version of it. Well, the safe for work version of it, which is the what can I say? It's an elephant. Clan Red are actually coming up after this game, so if you want to check out the dawdle, you can see their elephant logo, which looks way better than their current one. But there's like a weird, like, I don't even know how to explain what they're going through right now, but it's like some weird kind of social movement where they want to free the dawdle, and there's a good load of, there's a good amount of things that you can go into They got a good amount of cheerfuls is what I'm trying to say with Free the Doodle on as well, so I'm going to show some of those off during the red games. Now, I actually meant to show this off last time, but I guess we can have someone making this retroactively. We've got the cheerful for Michael. Michael holding some kind of lightsaber. I guess that really fits given the fact he just won with those Zealot blades. Third base is up already for Cold. If there's one thing we know about Cold, he's pretty good at expanding. And I don't know why I said that because it didn't really make any context, but Radley in chat, the Ghost King himself, was saying he liked Cold. And that's because back in Season 1, on New Empire of the Sun, this was 2.5 years ago I think it was, Radley played a game where he nuked Cold about 5 times. So that's something. Custom use highlighted a message saying, "Let's focus on STPL, stop VR." Oh my goodness. Oh, Custom use is on to me. We've got the Stargate coming up. First Corsair on the way. This is going to be used to scout. Maybe we'll be able to pick off a couple of Overlords. We've got a 4th hatchery coming up for Cold. We should see that 5th hatchery coming up soon after as well, going into a very macro-oriented game here. Looks like, unlike the other games in this series, we could actually have a longer game, which is quite good. This definitely feels like it's a big open path. I wonder how viable it is for Protoss to actually defend this. Okay, it looks like the Zealot's not taking the best engagement against the Zealots here. Yeah, looks like NarsiL seeing this wall invites masslings. So I guess as long as you can defend against masslings, you'll be in a good spot. Okay, the first Overlord does go down. The first Scourge should be out on the way, so the second Overlord shouldn't go down. NarsiL needs to make sure to keep this Corsair alive if he can. Losing this first Corsair is very, very important in PvZ. Definitely don't want to do that. Need to move it now. He's going to lose the... Oh, he loses the first Corsair. And Cold even saves the Overlord. That is definitely what he wants to see. This gives him the option of going for whatever he wants to. The Zealots getting into the 3rd base here. 6 kills, but they were lings from earlier. Only a couple of drones went down there, I think. But wait, he's sending his drones back and there's actually no defense. Ah, there we go. So some of the sunken just finishes in time. Okay, it looks like another 5 Zealots going to be running out on the map here. Should be getting Zealot leg speed soon if it's not already finished. I can never tell with how fast Zealots move. It looks so strange. It looks like Scourge going to try and find some additional Corsairs. Not going to be able to find any damage. And also going to go down. But does get the scout on the Templar Archives, so knows he's going to have to look out for DTs in the future. Okay, we've got 2 gateways now, 3rd gateway up as well. Should have another gateway coming in behind this. We've got the probe getting locked behind the minerals. This is going to be to allow him to stack up the Corsairs a little bit easier. Hydra's coming in to try and cancel out this wall. The cannons are very, very far back, but they will have to try and fight up the 2 ramps, which I did mention before, which is going to be difficult. 1-1 is coming in, not going immediately for 2-1, or yeah, 2-0. Which is a bit of a weird choice, but I've seen this a lot recently, even at the pro level. Going for that +1 armor very, very quickly. A lot of gateways being added on here as well. He's going to have to look to try and secure a 3rd base at some point, if he wants to. SimC at the third base doing really well, going up to a 6th hatchery here. This is going to allow him to macro up a lot of units very, very quickly, go for a lot of drones as well. And given the expansion pattern on the map, he can head down towards the bottom right hand corner to go for another expansion down there. We've got the Hydras running along the STPL logo here, one of the coolest maps in the STPL Season 4 because it's got the logo in. Looks like Zealot leg speed has come in, so now I definitely know when Zealot leg speed is coming, because they are zooming very, very fast around. Looks like we've got the Corsairs coming in on the Overlords, but taking a lot of damage to the Hydras. Don't want to lose them. Losing 2 again? This is just opening up the path for more and more Mutalists to come out here a little bit later on. And with a lot of Mutalists coming, it makes it very difficult for Storm to be as effective as it needs to be. And that is going to be a problem when you have the Lurker upgrade coming in. Lurker contains are very strong on every single map pretty much. But on this map there's very few paths you can actually leave your base. You have a bridge and you have 2 ramps. And if you get Lurker contained, how are you going to break them without Storm? I seriously think people need to go Reavers against Storm though. Here we go, Hydra's going to come in to try and cancel out this 3rd base. No 4th base is available just yet for Zerg or Protoss here, but these Hydras are doing so much damage. This has to be a cancelled Nexus. And the Hydra's coming in behind this. Oh my god, they're going to get in between the High Templar and the units. He's going to get all the High Templar before Storm goes down. Oh my goodness, he has to waste all of his Storms there because he thinks the High Templar are going to go down. And that was a great strategic maneuver there by Cold, coming in from multiple angles. We've got DTs trying to cancel out any additional bases down here in the bottom side of the map. But the Hydras are the real story. That's a great Storm though, coming in by NarsiL, doing a ton of damage to these Hydras. And that's going to force them back. LML Reavers against Lurker contain. Oh no, here we go, the Dragoons coming out here. The Hydra's coming once again from the other angle, going to get behind, killing another High Templar. And NarsiL is going to get himself locked in his base here. Looks like Cold going to push forward, trying to push the envelope here against our Protoss player. He is going to be able to get a couple of the buildings, maybe even going to cancel out +2 attack, which would be a very big upgrade to lose out on. He does have +1 armor at least, but losing this +1 attack, +2 attack is very, very important. rOuta and LML trying to tell me the reason why Protoss players don't use Reaver against contains is they are too expensive and clunky. I get that, but surely it's better than just being trapped in your base, right? Like, whenever I see Goon High Templar, it just doesn't work. Like, they just never break out, especially once Swarm comes in. It's like there's nothing they can do. Apparently Reaver's worse, wow. My theory crafting was wrong. rOuta saying you're dead when they set up the contain. Well, I guess that makes sense. You gotta put the pressure on to make sure they can't do it, but it just feels there must be a better way than like just ramming Storm and High Templar through a choke all the time. Okay, we do have Hive going in. Queen's Nest is done. I don't think we'll likely see any queens, but it would be cool if that did happen. Looks like a lot of Hydras actually kind of stuck in the base here, not really sure where they want to go, but they're going to be hanging out. We've got a 4th base coming up down here in the bottom right. The Lurkers are not being used for a contain, they are just going to be used for defense. And that is going to be what we're looking for here, as NarsiL is going to break out onto the map, save himself from being Lurker contained, which is the most important moment in this game. But is he going to be able to do enough damage with this push? We found out in the game between Eriador and Yeti that it's very hard for Protoss to push Zerg on this map. So I do wonder how this is going to go. But having some maps that are good for ZVP, good for ZVP means we'll get less PvP overall. So maybe that's a good thing. There is a Wing 2 thread on TL. I posted in the middle of the week. Okay, it looks like we do have a really nice storm here at the front, killing so many Hydralisks. The Hydras at the back doing a lot of damage. The Lurker's managing to avoid any damage. And with no Observer here, he can't push up this ramp. Okay, there is an Observer, but comes in a little bit late there, and he's only fighting with 2 of his goons. Goons at the back being killed by the Lings, the Hydra, and the Lurker coming in behind this. Gets one of the Lurkers before it can burrow, but the Observer gets taken down by the Overlords and those Hydras in the third base. And this is definitely looking a little bit rough for NarsiL. He does get a good engagement on the units. He traded very, very nicely, and he does manage to get his third base up, but it's a mineral only, and he needs the gas. Okay, NarsiL moving out in the middle of the map. He should look to take another gas base. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's making his way through the bridges of the bottom half of the map. Colt doesn't actually have that many units down here, so if he can get in with his Observer at the right angle and at the right time, which looks like that time maybe now before the Sunkens are done, he could maybe do some big damage down here, but he has to get in, and he has to get in before the Sunkens finish. Looks like he's going to come in with a flank with some of the Dragoons, but they are going to get picked off with ease by all of the units coming up behind here. Nice storm on the Lurker. They're going to help take that down. The Goons have breached the base, but there's a lot of Zerg coming down here from the other bases, and it looks like he's going to fall back, but I feel like he can take this engagement. I guess he's just trying his best to block the ramp as much as he can, because he knows the more Zerg units that come in here, the harder it is going to be able to take down this base. He's taking the most favorable engagement he possibly can. And it looks like this could be the end of the line for this part of the army, but while this goes on, we've got a big storm going up here at the 12 o'clock location. We've got the 5th base by Cold under pressure here. NarsiL really trying to stretch the multitasking of Cold. But obviously this is right where most of Cold's hatcheries are, so it should be relatively easy to be able to hold on to this. But another brilliant storm. The hatchery about to go down, but it looks like all of the units are going to die before the hatchery can fall. An Archon coming in here, which should help against some of these Lings, but it's going to have to finish first. And it looks like it just about will. This could be a big pickup though. If he attacks those Overlords with the Archon, that's going to supply block Cold. But looks like he's going to focus the hatchery instead. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. He should have gone for the Overlords. But looks like he doesn't get the hatchery either. The Archon going to fall back, going to be picked off by these Hydras. We're going to have NarsiL expanding to the 12 o'clock location. Now this is very difficult for him to hold on. It's so close to the heartlands of the Zerg's economy. All of their tech and all their hatcheries are up there. But looks like he is going to be able to hold on to this 9 o'clock base as well. But by taking the 12 o'clock location, he puts pressure on this base. And that is going to be what the ultimate plan is once again. Okay, we've got a DT in here as well, helping out the Overlords a little bit too far away, so this DT able to do a little bit, maybe more damage than he was expecting. But once again, the Archon's coming in. There's not that many units over. The Lings and the Hydras have actually managed to clear the cannons over here on the 9 o'clock base. And this is definitely looking a little bit rough. A DT going down to the bottom right could be the difference with a ton of damage coming in. But this top middle base is going to go down. The Storm, he needs to use the Storm. He gets the Storm. And it's a pretty good one, but needs another one. And he doesn't storm the units he'd already hit before. So this base is under peril. And GG. NarsiL taps out. Cold is going to win game number 4. And that's going to take us into an ace match when we get back after this short break. Okay guys, we're here with the ace match between pSi and ReV, starting us off down here in the bottom right hand corner in the blue. Fighting for pSi, it's Cold. He took his team to the ace match just now in the game against NarsiL. And here he is again to try and dig the nail, or hammer the nail into the coffin but he is going to be on Rosenbridge up here against his opponent in the bottom left in the red, fighting for ReV. It's Aeternum from Latvia with the wrong flag. Now Aeternum did win his game as well. He won game number 1 against Prase. Is he going to be able to win again here? Now if you've not seen Rosenbridge before, it was used a lot in week 1, but essentially it's the first of its kind in a 1v1 map. I know there has been an FFA map that's like this that was used previously. Someone brought me that stat before. But Cold has spawned on the mainland and Aeternum has spawned on an island. So obviously the big thing with going on the mainland is you can scout if you want to. The more I think about this and the more I've discussed this with people, it almost feels like scouting early when you're on the mainland is actually kind of pointless. Because both players realistically, even if you're on the mainland, should be playing greedy, because your opponent could be 33% of the time over here on an island like Aeternum is, so it's not worth it. I mean, he is going to still play greedy, he's going to go for a 12 hatch, but obviously going for that fast scout means he will confirm that he's 100% safe. Now, what he could do is actually just expand in the top left now as well if he wanted to. Grass saying that the scouting is needed, but I still don't really feel that's the case. And from what I've discussed with people, I think they feel the same way. But you also have a benefit by spawning on the land, because you have a better chance later on. If you're active enough, you can stop any drops. Looks like Cold getting it ready to scout up to expand it to the 6 o'clock position here. This is going to give him access to an easy 6 o'clock base. Cold saying that Aeternum obviously knows he's on the island, but Cold doesn't, which is a fair point. Looks like we're actually going to have Aeternum going for a 1-base Stargate play. Not going to play greedy here, which is what we normally see from the players over on the islands. I would be interested to see what it's like if the players on the mainland don't scout, because if someone 4-pulls you on the mainland of this map or something in a PvZ, or vice versa, like a 2-gate in the middle of the map, they're essentially going to lose the game immediately 66% of the time, which is not worth it, which is why I think like playing greedy in both circumstances is better. That's what I've heard from other people as well, but it is an interesting like experiment. It may not work, it may work, we're seeing how it goes. And then if it does turn out to be fundamentally broken, we will change the map, or we will remove it entirely. That is the power we have, so it's all good. Now the first Overlord is going to go down. Now I think Cold is going to be a little bit surprised to see this Corsair so quickly, given the fact after he scouted, he knew his opponent was on an island. You would have thought that maybe Aeternum would be going for a faster expansion. Aeternum going to fly over here, see the 3rd hatchery up, but there's not really too much you can do. Now one thing that Cold gets by expanding to this location is a very, very close drop zone to his opponent's main base. So if he gets Overlord speed and Overlord drop, he could do a lot of damage. That second Overlord going down going to be hurting Cold quite a bit. Aeternum really with this interesting choice to go for such an early Corsair. Really working out for him. Now Cold for some reason stopped attacking with the Hydra. That does manage to save his Overlord anyway. I'm not really sure why the Hydra pulled back, but it happens. Looks like Cold is going to lose another Overlord down here in the bottom right. Aeternum only just now starting to get his 2nd base up though, so not really getting any benefit from this whatsoever yet. I mean, getting 3 Overlords is pretty big early game. But other than that, I mean, it's not going to affect him too much. He's just going to be able to rebuild those Overlords. He's going to be able to drone up like mad as well, knowing his opponent can't be dropping him anytime soon. And he should have a... I mean, he's going for a shuttle now, but he should have a pretty decent defense against this. It looks like the Corsair is coming in here to try and get another Overlord. Does he have +1 air attack? Yes, he does. Oh, with only 2 Hydras back here defending the base, like, I feel like Cold is kind of letting Aeternum getting away with murder here. Like, he shouldn't be losing this many Overlords to this many Corsairs this early. Like, he's got the units, he's got the spores, but he's just not defending the right locations, it doesn't feel like, with them. Like, you should have... I guess he's only just rebuilt those Overlords, which is why they were down there. But at least build a Spore or something in the main. Like, it just feels a little bit wasteful not to do that. But, of course, when you're playing the game, it's a little bit different from me sitting here watching it as an observer. So, Cold is probably feeling a lot more pressure here, knowing that he's lost some early Overlords. He's got a lot of catching up to do when it comes to that. He doesn't really know what Aeternum's doing for the time being, so he can't be sure if drops are coming either. So he's just going to have to play this a little bit blind until he can start going into his own air units. I think Spire would definitely be important here, and that's what he has gone into, but he is already down in air already from that very, very fast Stargate. Okay, looks like the Scourge are going for a scout if they can. He doesn't manage to connect with the Corsair. He comes close. I think he must have misclicked. Because that Corsair, I'm sure both those Scourge would have hit that. But here we go. Looks like we are going to have the first drop coming in. A Reaver going in to the third base. This is definitely looking a little bit rough for Cold here, as finding the Reaver is going to be difficult, especially when his Hydras are attacking the Zealot instead. Now another drone is going to go down. He should pull his drones away from this base for sure. They're definitely not going to be able to do too much over here, so he is going to move away. A few more Hydras going to come in here. And luckily enough for Cold, he's actually moved a lot of his Overlords away from his main now, so these Corsairs shouldn't really find any damage. But the Reaver is the big problem here, because the Hydras, when they run in, going to group up, but does manage to kill them. He gets the Hydra, or he gets the Reaver, which is very, very important. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have another Reaver and another couple of Zealots coming over here to the natural expansion. A lot of Corsairs coming in at the same time here as well, going for these Overlords. And that's going to be a lot of trouble for Cold, who doesn't have too many... he doesn't have too many Hydras here. And oh, he's going to have to go for the Reaver. Pushes forward, does manage to force it to be picked up. There's so many Overlords are going down throughout the course of this. That was definitely a good attack in by Aeternum. Looks like that Reaver did a ton of damage here. Cold definitely hurting from the early damage he took. And it looks like things are getting a little bit out of hand here as Cold struggles to bring himself back in. Castamuse, Medinho left ReV in the beginning of, or the end of season, well, in between season 3 and 4. And he's now on IRK now. Medinho, I think, is making his debut game for IRK. I'm not sure if it's week 2 or week 3. I know he's definitely in the week 3 lineup. But he's recently become a father, so the Viking Terran is God of Warring it, raising his kid. Corsair's still up here, still very little to contest them. It's so hard to get the so hard to get the Corsairs when you fall behind in them, but the ReV doing a lot of damage as well to the mineral line. Looks like the Scarab gonna bug out, but getting a ton of drones here. And the ReV is still alive, still getting kills. The Shuttle, it just can't be taken down. The Hydra's getting a little bit stuck on the gas there, definitely causing a lot of trouble. And here we go, the ReV doing more and more damage, and the Shuttle with speed is gonna get away. Okay, so the third base finally coming up here for Aeternum. Usually people on an island would expand a little bit quicker than this, given he is a little bit more safe. But Aeternum's been using his position on the island to be incredibly aggressive, going for a lot of Corsairs, controlling the skies, and then just going in for ReV drops, and it's been working really, really well so far. For a second I thought Cold was going to try and expand up to the top middle. Cold is finally in a position where it feels like he should be able to start defending his bases. And this is when things are going to start to flip in his favor a little bit. He's still behind in Corsairs, and there is a lot of shuttles coming here. But look at this, he gets the... Oh, he doesn't... The Scourge don't connect on the shuttle again. And that is going to smart really badly there, because he needs to kill these. He needs to get the shuttles. The shuttles are really the only power play that Aeternum has right now. And by being able to get away with this, he is doing a lot of damage. One of the ReVs goes down, the shuttle close to going down, but there's two ReVs in his third base. The drones need to be evacuated. Now, is Aeternum going to stay here and attack? Wait, what is the Sunken isn't attacking the ReV? That is definitely, he wanted to be attacking the ReV there, I think. He would have killed the ReV by now. Oh, he gets the ReV though. He does manage to clean it up. The Hydra's coming up, going to help clean up some of these Zealots. And I don't think there's a ReV left in these shuttles. There's actually no units, and they're flying into the path of the Hydralisks. Where these shuttles are going, I'm not too sure. He should have flown them back home. But Cold is going to defend his base. Most of the drones did manage to survive. He is going to be able to drone up pretty heavily after this, knowing he's just killed a good number of ReVs, but he does need some more Hydras as well. He needs some more defense at these bases. Something like a Sunken in the mineral line would be quite good to defend this location here, but putting the Hydras there to try and catch any stray shuttles is going to be pretty good. The Corsairs going around the top edge of the map, looking for other forms of bases hidden around the map. Looks like Aeternum is actually going to land on the mainland here, going to send his probe up to try and expand to the top left-hand base. And with Cold's attention being constantly drawn to the 6 o'clock, this may work, but the Hydra left on patrol up there that he missed is going to scout this, and he is going to be able to take down the probe, which is pretty good. Looks like the Scourge going to come over, try and catch some of the Sunkens, some of the shuttles. The Hive, of course, here put in a position where it makes it hard for Protoss and Terran to expand when they're on the island. They have to kill the Hive first. The shuttle's getting a little bit far ahead of themselves. Scourge coming in, but just missing their opportunity for some kills again. And it looks like the shuttle's going to try and get into the main, but can the Hydra stop them? He needs to focus fire the shuttles. There's so many ReVs in here, but they're very, 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 very vulnerable. At least they were. But here we go, 4 ReVs in the main. Zealots as well. Cold with not many units. The drones starting to pull away. And it looks like this could be the straw that broke the camel's back. The ReV is doing so much damage now. The Hydra is not in a position to defend. And it looks like Aeternum may have taken down Cold here in the ace match. But pSi, once again, even though they're going to be losing the series, have done a very good job and shown why they're a new and improved team heading into Season 4. But the main base of Cold is going to go down, and with that, so is all of the tech. Looks like one of the ReVs has gone down. Nice Hydra spilling by Cold. Fighting to the very end here. Gets another shuttle, which is a very, very good pick-off. But the issue is he's got nothing that can attack these ReVs without dying. Yeah, it feels like Cold fell a little bit behind early on, taking a bunch of damage from those units. And that in the end, just he couldn't respond, I'm having trouble speaking English. He couldn't recover from. So that is going to be the end of our first series today. Let's give the win to Aeternum here and the win to Clan Revolution. They're going to be feeling good about that win, getting their first win on the board. It is still week 2 though, so there's still a long way to go. But there we go. So we had Aeternum taking down Prase, we had Hirmu taking down mitak, Michael taking down Scarfs, Cold taking down NarsiL, and Aeternum in the end taking down Cold to give ReV the win 3-2. And that's going to take us into our second series when we get back after this around 5-minute or so break. Now, 残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になれ。青い風が今胸の胴を叩いても私だけをただ見つめて微笑んでるあなた、そっと触れるもの求めることに夢中で運命さえまだ知らない痛いけな瞳だけどいつか気づくでしょう、その背中には遥か未来目指すための羽があること。残酷な天使の手勢的辺からやがて飛び立つほとばしる熱いパトスで思い出を裏切るならこの空を抱いて輝く少年よ神話になれ。ずっと眠ってるよ私の愛のゆりかご、あなただけが夢の使者に呼ばれる朝が来る。細い筋を月明かりが映してる。世界中の時を止めて閉じ込めたいけどもしも二人会えたことに意味があるなら私はそう自由を知るためのバイブル。残酷な天使の手勢悲しみがそして始まる。抱きしめた命の形その夢に目覚めた時誰よりも光を放つ少年よ神話になれ。人は愛を紡ぎながら歴史を作る。女神なんてなれないまま私は生きる。 残酷な天使の手勢、窓辺からやがて飛び立つ。ほとばしる熱いパトスで思い出を裏切るなら、この空を抱いて輝く少年よ、神話になれ。 Okay guys, welcome back. We are going to be heading in here to our second series of today. It's going to be Eriador. I can't say the name, but they've been saying the name a lot over and over and over again today because they want their old logo back, but their new logo looks cooler anyway. We're going to go into our second series with the same format we have all the time for the STPL. Best of 5 all the way through, set 1 to 4, lineups are selected in advance, all the games are played at the same time, and set 5 is the ace match, which means every player can compete again. Now, let's talk about the maps. We've got 6 brand new maps overall, 2 returning maps from Season 1. And some of the games have been pretty good so far. We're only 2 weeks in and we've had some bangers of some games, which is really cool. So looking forward to see how they are going to be going soon as well. Now, the cool thing is we're here in the VR, well, I guess it's like the VR STPL studio. I know a lot of people aren't really happy with the VR stuff, but my room looks like a tip. I look like a tip. So rather than using... rather than like wasting my money on another green screen, I thought, why don't I just use a virtual green screen and just do this? We've got the logo swing behind me, we've got the big screen behind me as well. I think it looks cool. I get that it's not for everyone, but whatever, it's easy enough for me to do. I enjoyed setting it up, and at some point I really do need to get around to actually making these like parkas because they would look really, really cool. But either way, this is our second series of today. It's going to be Red versus NaS. As I said, Eriador against North American squad. North American squad not sending out as many of their North American players anymore, and you'll see why very shortly. They do have one coming up though, who is a very, very good North American player, one of the best Protoss players in North America. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go and introduce both of our teams. Starting us off here is going to be the only, if I remember correctly, we are looking at Red first. Yes, we are. Red, one of the mainstay teams from the STPL. They've been in all the way since Season 1, and they have been very vocal recently. Okay, so it's a different best. And the photo is loaded wrong again. That is not my fault. Well, it technically is, but I'll fix it. But it's not best white. White doesn't play in the STPL anymore. Yeah, okay, so... Right, so I'm just gonna... While we're going for this, right? While we're going for this, I'm gonna explain why I blocked Red's logo, right? So Red in Season 1 and Season 2... They played with their actual logo, and I said, I want you to make something a little bit more safe for work. Because Red's name, Eriador, literally means shaved cock and balls, and that's exactly what their logo was. Okay, I realize that people don't like the VR stuff. I know I know people don't like the VR stuff, okay? But at least it's not a shaved cock and balls. Like there's like a level, right? There's a level of like what you can show on Twitch, right? And you can't show a shaved cock and balls on Twitch. You can't, okay? That is why I blocked your logo. The elephant conveys the exact same thing. People know what it is, and it looks really, really good. I prefer the elephant. I prefer the elephant. Stop attacking me. Stop attacking me. Ah. Oh my goodness. Oh man. LML saying that you can. rOuta saying the Dodelfin is not their logo. Well, it's your STPL logo. That's what you picked. So let's have a look at our second team. It's going to be NaS here. NaS, a very, very strong team. Originally from just North America, but spreading out around the world now. We've got dsaqwe from Croatia joining them from Ash, Terra from Peru, Eon Zerg sometimes from Belgium, and Dragon, of course, heading up the team from North America himself, the strongest Canadian Protoss player in the world, and in Canada, I guess. But there we go. So, kind of cool. We've got two good teams coming up. Let's see what the lineups are going to be. Gonna have a PvZ starting us off, LML versus Dragon on Tears of Goddess. That should be pretty good. Dragon, if you don't know, he is a ZvP'er, so he's a Protoss player unless he's playing PvP, in which he race switches. And essentially, he is a very, very good Zerg player as well. His ZvP, for the longest time when unmatched, he actually had, or he still has, the all-time top streak in Zerg versus Protoss, winning 12 Zerg versus Protoss games in a row. So there we have it, like a really, really strong Zerg player. Going to be very difficult for LML to face up against him, but we'll go into that as we get into the games. Where they're going to have a... Why is Eriador... Oh man, I'm going to need to reload the overlay again. Eriador is going to be playing a PvZ versus StRyKeR on Blindside. Best is going to play against dsaqwe. This is not the best, but it is a best, a South Korean best from South Korea, obviously. I'm going to need to reload the overlay in the next break, so we'll need a little bit of a longer break, but that's fine. And then rOuta against Terra on Desert Dwellers. From what I understand, rOuta has something planned for Terra, so let's see if that's going to work out. Let's get into game number one first of all, though. The map we are going to be heading into is going to be Desert Dwellers. Desert Dwellers, sorry, it's Tears of Goddess. Sorry, I got my matches mixed up the wrong way. Tears of Goddess, essentially a very, very strong, very, very standard map, very similar to Luna back in the day, with a slightly more constricted middle. So I think it's going to be quite hard for either player to kill themselves or kill each other here. And we'll have to see how that goes. So we've had one PvZ here so far. Aeternum did take down Prase in a relatively straightforward ZvP. But let's see how this one's going to go as we get into game number one. Okay, spawning up here in the top right hand position in the peach, fighting for red. It's going to be LML. And his opponent in the top left hand corner in the orange, fighting for NaS. It's going to be Dragon. Okay, so it's going to be a PvZ. I reckon we'll see both players play this out quite standard. Dragon, a very standard player, and LML being quite standard as well. Very unlikely to see any early aggression from either player, but if we do, it could be a little bit crazy. Now, going back to the Dodal discussion, just because I know this isn't going to end. Like, this is not going to end. Twitch may not care, I don't know, but I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm willing to risk it even. And also, think about it from an outsider's point of view, right? You're an outsider, you're watching Brood War for the first time, you tune into a team league, you think, that's great. And then you look, and there's a giant shaved cock and balls on screen, and it's like, really? Really? Like, come on. Also, I mean, I doubt this will ever happen, but if we keep doing the STPL and it does get bigger, and we can get to the point when we're looking at maybe sponsors or something like that, I don't think they'll probably want to be showing their stuff next to a shaved cock and balls. I think the Dodal people are just too far gone. They're like flat earthers. It doesn't matter what I say. They're just gonna keep going. Creative, I guess it's just me. Maybe I don't see the fun aspect and that's the problem, but I don't know. I just didn't want to... I just essentially didn't want to... I didn't want to have their logo in the tournament anymore, so I asked them. I didn't tell them to change it. I said, if possible, can you change it? And they did. They did it for me. And I'm very thankful for that, but now they are pushing back against the decision they made for Season 3. Now the trouble is, I've opened a can of worms here because it's going to turn out that I did tell them they had to change it, and they're going to find, like, the logs. The flat dodalers are getting out of control. They're going to check all the logs now. I'm not safe anymore. I'll walk outside my flat and there's just going to be a giant dodal pointed on the, like, painted on the wall. Dragon is going for 5 hatchery no gas, by the way, just to get back into the actual game and casting, because that's what I'm here to do. And that's what I mean when I say the Dragon isn't likely to do anything aggressive. He is just going to play super heavy back row, going to go for a lot of drones early on. He's probably going to be up to about 40 drones, I would reckon, before he actually builds any Hydras at this point. So we'll have to see how that's going to go. Obviously, this does mean early Zealots can be very, very powerful because there's not going to be that many Lings, and there's not going to be any Zerg. There's not going to be any Zerglings or anything to be able to defend against this. But it looks like he is going to try and build a creep colony, but he can't quite put it down before the Zealot stops him. Oh, he's going to build 6 hatcheries. 5 hatch into gas, into a 6th hatchery immediately. Dragon is playing this so greedily right now. Oh my god, LML actually found he found the logs. Oh no. Oh, apparently that's the 5th hatch, sorry. Yeah, it's the 5th hatch, that's my bad. I can't count. I'm getting too distracted by chat today. Medino is rolling in his grave right now, at the amount I'm getting distracted by chat. But looks like Dragon gonna go for a very small counterattack over here. It shouldn't really be able to do too much. 2 cannons up already to help defend against this. And we do have LML going for some early Corsairs, very standard, going for a Templar Archives as well, so this is likely going to be Corsair DT play early on from him. And oh my god, he's actually got a hatchery a gateway coming up in the main. This is going to be for a DT, there we go. A cloaked man is going to be coming in here from the base. He walked the probe in and managed to hide it. And this is rough. LML's going to be in a lot of trouble. There's probably not going to be an Overlord popping here for a while. And the Dragon, the lucky thing for him is there's not really too much going on, so he should be looking back towards his base, especially given the fact he's got some lava to use. But if he doesn't see this coming... And look at this, LML is going to wait for a second DT here. The Corsair coming in, just being annoying, just kind of pushing the Overlords a little bit further away from the main. Gonna scout in to make sure there's no Overlord here. And there isn't. We've got Overlord speed coming in, but they're not going to be able to defend this main base against 2 DTs. And this is really, really clever. But look at this. Dragon looks immediately... And immediately he pulls those drones away. Only losing 2 drones so far. The DT is going to be trying to go for some of these Hydras. Going to go back and see if he can get on top of this. He's trying to get... He knows it's an Overlord. He's going for it. He kills it. The Overlords are coming back though. These DTs need to come back up. LML doing such a good job so far with this push. A creep colony coming in though. That's not going to really help too much and it may go down. Looks like another Overlord pops out. He will get the creep colony, but the DTs will be taken down. But here is another DT coming into the natural. This is such a good move. The drones from the main pulled away while... Oh my god, Dragon knows there's a DT there, but he's attacking his hatchery. If he doesn't notice this, he could actually lose his hatchery eventually. 7 kills on this DT, and the gateway is still up. Looks like the gateway has just been spotted now. So he should go and clean that up, but this DT has done such a good job down here at the natural. And here comes another DT to the top. Looks like the Hydras are going to see this. Leaving the gateway though, maybe a little bit too long. But it is kind of siphoning off some of that gas that could be used somewhere else. So I suppose it works out. Looks like the hatchery did stop being attacked, so Dragon did notice this. Okay, and here we go, LML coming in with some more aggression here on Dragon's hatcheries, but the trouble is Dragon has got so many hatches, so many drones already, that he has so many Hydras right now, which makes this very, very difficult for LML to really do any damage, but looks like he's going to try to do it. He's got a lot of Storm here, missing that one. I think these Templar are probably going to go down. The Zealots getting in a position to try and deal some damage to the Hydras at the front. How much energy does he have? He has about 2 to 3 more storms over here, but I feel like he's storming in the wrong locations, but that's a good storm. Gonna do a ton of damage there. Looks like the Zealots coming in behind, another storm coming down. He's almost got another one ready. If he can keep this alive for like 3 more seconds, he's not going to be able to. So all of LML's units go down at the front, and Dragon is going to pretty much close enough to even up the supply. Now LML getting ready to try and take a 3rd base down here, but he just lost a big chunk of his army. He lost 4 High Templar after doing quite a bit of damage with Storm, but maybe not as much as he'd want to. But Dragon getting it ready to go for a counter. If he can stop his opponent from being able to expand, he is going to be in a very, very good spot. But it is quite difficult to push across this bridge, which makes this 3rd base quite easy to defend as our Protoss player here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gateways now. Robo is up building observers. We don't have any storms coming in. We don't have any reavers coming in, but we do have 2 High Templar getting sniped there by Dragon. So really nice move by him. Trying to get the High Templar as they move out to try and meet up with the rest of the army. Great snipe there. Dragon definitely showing why his win rate against Zerg is so high. Against Protoss is so unbelievably high. He knows PvZ so well. His PvZ is really good as well. And oh my god, look at this. He gets another High Templar for 1 Hydra. That is so unbelievably worth it. And look at this. The Corsair, after all this time, is going to kill an Overlord. At least it might be able to. He needs to probably move up to it a little bit closer. Oh, the Corsair's going to go down, save the Overlord as well. This game is going so well for Dragon right now, but this is still a big army for our Protoss player. LML doing a good job up in upgrades as well. Going to push forward, catch some of these Hydras out in the middle of nowhere. Zealot coming down here to the bottom left, going to scout out this base as well. But Lurkers will be heading down there to help defend against this as well. Okay, looks like we've got engagement coming up in the middle of the map. As we see, we've got some High Templar here to try and help deal with the Lurkers, but the Observers are going down, and that's a massive problem. Storms being used on the Hydras. And that is not looking good right about now, so that is a little bit unfortunate here. The Hydra's doing so much damage, but another big storm coming down, trying to help out, clear out some of this army. LML regains his supply lead, which is super important. But we'll have to see how this is going to go as the game continues on. Okay, Dragon continuing to expand. He's got his base up in the bottom left-hand corner. It's defended from the high ground ramp. Interestingly, he chose not to take the natural first. But the other bases of Dragon looking pretty safe right now. Going into Hive, Defiler's Mound on the way. No queens on the way yet for Dragon. Probably won't see those. He's not Eriador. Dragon continuing to scout around. I mean, if you look at Dragon's map vision, it's very strong for a Zerg player at this point in the game. The Corsairs were really unable to do too much because he only built, I think, 1 or 2 Corsairs at the beginning of the game. The Overlord at the bottom right going to scout out this base as well, and you can immediately see LML heading back there because he knows that Dragon is most likely, well, he would think that Dragon is most likely going to attack, but Dragon is just setting up a big lurker field in the middle of the map, adding on a Nidus, adding on a creep colony here. And we'll keep continuing to expand. Dragon doesn't look like he wants to throw the game away. He knows that if he defends his bases, if he splits the map halfway, it's going to be very difficult for LML to be able to push into this. The Observer's very far forward again, but unlike last time, there's not many Overlords here, so this is going to be a little bit more difficult. LML definitely needs to be a little bit more careful with those Observers though, because if he loses those, he cannot engage. You know, we are zoomed out a little bit here, but we've got a nice storm on those Hydras. More Hydras coming in from behind. He's going to need to storm those if he wants to keep this going. Looks like he is going to fall back. The Observers are still there, but they're very vulnerable. Even when they're in the middle of the army here. But looks like he is going to be able to break down a lot of these Lurkers, but there's still so many more units for Dragon out here. And let's see how this is going to go. So the Dragoons still holding strong for the time being. Another Storm coming in, but Dragoons alone are not that great against Protoss. You need those Zealots to soak up some of the damage, and you need that Storm to take down some of those Hydras. Dragon getting some High Templar before they can morph as well, adding value upon value to all of his engagements. Now we do have that 4th base down here in the bottom right. Every base on Tears of Goddess has gas, although LML isn't actually mining from that just yet. His main base is starting to dry up. He's still got a little bit to go though. He hasn't really got too many probes right now. The natural is going to mine out a little bit sooner. And the 3rd base is still okay. But he knows the Dragon may be weak down here in the bottom left, because he did bring up a lot of lurkers from down there. But he is going to force a lot of units back and then run back away. I think this. I feel like the Archon should just kill the Ling. Oh, the Dragoon is going to sacrifice itself instead. Now looks like we do have a base up here. The Storm missing just a little bit, but the base does go down, which is a big win for LML here. If LML can, if he can expand to this base, he'll be in a good position. But he is going to expand to the bottom right. This is a really cool macro game we've got going on here. Sorry LML, but you guys were talking about doodles too much at the beginning of the game and I was too distracted. So apparently there was an early game probe snipe by LML on one of the drones, I'm guessing. Now LML doing a pretty good job here with building up his army, moving out into another map. Let's check the upgrades. We've got 2-2 upgrades for LML right now. 3-1 though for Dragon. Dragon definitely getting on top of those Evo chambers, making sure to keep the upgrades going. Now I zoom back in, but we're about to get into another big engagement down here. A lurker getting taken down before it can be finished. Plague on the Dragoons there at the top of the map, top of the engagement. Gonna make this a little bit harder to go in for. The Observer's still alive. Dragoons good against lurkers if they can see them. Another Storm going down. A great Storm on top of the lurkers. Can he get another one? The High Templar going to go down, but he does still have more Storm. These lurkers are going to be heavily damaged. A lot of his army is not moving. What is happening here? Is the replay bugged? Oh no, here we go. He is going to come in now. But, I mean, these lurkers should be dead already. Feels like he lost control of his army just a little bit there. And there we go. Gets the final lurker before the storm comes up. Sorry, before the swarm comes up. Very good. Gets the bottom base as well. But to do so is going to lose his entire army. The 3-3 upgrades, or the 3-1 upgrades, and the 2-1 upgrades on the melee definitely helping out a lot here for Dragon. Now there was a drop down here in the bottom right with a couple of Lings, and the Hydra did manage to take down the Nexus before it could finish. SCP, there's been replay bugs since 1.16. Replay bugs have always been a thing. Oh, here is my favorite unit in the game, the Dark Archon. Can he get some good maelstroms off? Can he get some good feedbacks off? Feedback incredibly good against those Defilers, because most of the time they will have high enough energy that you will be able to one-shot them. But looks like he's going to be trying to push across. He's going to try and push across the ramp again. I'm not really sure about this one. But can he get the feedback on the defensive Defiler? Looks like one isn't coming. It's almost like he knows there's a Dark Archon there. But does manage to get a nice storm on that bridge. But Dragon is going to secure the base for now. We've got a single Zealot coming down here. This is a plucky little Zealot going for a little bit of damage, but not really going to be able to find anything. High Templar getting taken down in the bottom right by these two Lings. Does get a couple of the units though. Makes it a little bit easier to defend, and there's actually a Reavers coming out now, which is a very, very good move in the late game in ZvP, just because Reavers are so much better against Swarm than anything else that Protoss has. Dark Archon, definitely excited to see how he's actually going to make use of this. But Dragon's still pretty heavily turtled up, going to be very difficult to break into any of these bases. And it makes me wonder if LML should just look to try and expand and try and find a way into the, well, just to essentially bleed his opponent out. Protoss is a lot more cost efficient late game when you do get that Archon Reaver composition. So if he can just defend long enough, I think he can make something work, and especially if he goes for the Dark Archons as well. If he gets good feedbacks, that is going to eat into Dragon's gas a very big amount. It's just he needs to make sure that he doesn't throw away too many units, and that is very easy to do in ZvP late game. Dragon has overlords absolutely everywhere. It's very difficult for LML to move around the map. But here we go. Can he get the feedback? Can he get the feedback? He doesn't see it. He's not clicking on the Dark Archon. Click the feedback. Kill the Defiler. Oh, he Maelstroms instead. I would prefer to feedback in that situation, to be honest. And oh no, the Storm hits his own units. Did he forget feedback? Is feedback something you have to... I don't think you have to research feedback, right? I know you research Maelstrom. Yeah, feedback's on by default, okay. Yeah, I definitely feel like that would have been better with a feedback, but here we go. Coming in, gets a feedback on one of the Defilers. The Dark Archon pulling back. He gets a brilliant Maelstrom off. That is perfect. Exactly what he needed. Storm going to come in and clear all of those Hydras. That definitely makes up for the missed Storm he had before. And that's the kind of moves that make Protoss so unbelievably cost effective. But look at Dragon. He's slowly creeping his way around to the 6 o'clock position. He's getting ready to move into an area to split the map in his favor. And when that happens, that is when Protoss are going to be in trouble. But here comes another feedback. No Swarm, no Storm for you. And that is going to allow this Dark Archon to clear up some of these units, but doesn't want to lose it, needs to keep it alive. More and more Lurkers coming up down here. Storm on the ramp, a great Storm there, doing a ton of damage to some of the units that are coming over. And another great Storm at the back as well. No Defilers in sight for the time being, and he's going to be able to secure his 6 o'clock location. But at what cost? All of his units are stuck down here in the 6 o'clock now. Dragon moving along with a lot of units here to the 3 o'clock, trying to see if he can find some damage. But pushing across a bridge is never something you want to do. But there's no High Templar at this base. And here comes Swarm. There's no Dark Archons down here. And now to defend his base, he's going to be fighting across a bridge. But here we have it, the Storms coming in, another Dark Archon. Great Dark Archon usage this game so far by LML. But it's not enough to save the base. This 3 o'clock base is going to go down, and LML isn't going to go and defend it. He is going for a counter. But I don't think he can do any damage anywhere. This is such a massive loss. He does have the 2 bottom right-hand bases. But he needs to do something here, and he needs to do it soon. Now here we go, one of the Dark Archons out the front, pulling it back to make sure it doesn't die. There's a lot of Zerglings here, a lot of Dark Archons, a lot of Storm, but it's very technical, this army. And when the army's technical like this, it's very hard to control it, and Dragon taking a big supply lead from that. There is 2 Reavers down here, which should help defend against this base, as a High Templar just stood in the middle of nowhere. If he can Storm with this, he could do a lot of damage. But looks like the Reaver's going to come in handy to try and defend against this Swarm coming in. Lots of Zerg units coming down. LML is very far behind in supply count now. And that means every single engagement is going to be absolutely critical that he defends essentially absolutely perfectly. And let's see if this is going to work out for him. The Forge and the Gateway are the other natural. Going to kind of help defend. At least delay this a little bit. But with more Lings coming down and not many reinforcements coming down from LML, How long can these Reavers realistically hold? Storm coming down, oh sorry, Swarm coming down on one of these Reavers. 12 kills here. Nicely done, but one of the Reavers going to go down to the Hydras. Nice snipe. And this High Templar does finally get a Storm on that Lurker, but one Storm is not going to be enough. The Forge is plagued as well. Another Dark Templar, another Dark Archon here, sorry, coming in. Dragon is slowly starting to mine out his bases. The top left is completely gone. Top middle is going to be his healthiest because he took it latest. The bottom, or the left middle is almost gone as well, including the gas. And the bottom left is essentially the main heartlands of his economy now. We've got a lot and a huge drop coming in to this main base though, and this could be the end of the game. LML is going to find it so hard to get down to defend this base. He has to run through the middle of the map when it's very difficult when you don't have too many observers. You know your opponent has a ton of lurkers everywhere, and you have no information as to where they are. We had a Storm drop or Reaver drop coming up on that base. Does kill a good number of drones. Gets into the main and doesn't really find too much though. But that isn't going to be the problem. The problem is this drop. Even dropping the Reavers in the main base, it doesn't matter. Dragon has got the kill move right here in the bottom right hand corner. The Reavers are not going to be able to get up the base to defend against this. And of course there is the Defiler in there as well to swarm. And this base is going to go down, and this is the final remaining mining base of LML. I mean, this base is almost gone, and as soon as this base goes, how do you defend? I mean, Dragon has just proven in this game why he's so hard to beat in CVP. It doesn't matter how cost efficient you are, in the end of the game, he will just have more bases, he'll have more of the map, and he'll have more units. Now looks like LML going to try and go for a counter, force some of the units back. But realistically, this is a do or die move, because if he doesn't kill all the tech, if he doesn't kill all of the bases, it's just going to be game over. But here we go, we do have a Maelstrom on a single Lurker and a Zealot as well. That's a nice Maelstrom in the top right. Good kills there. But here come the Hydras from behind. The Dark Archon is out of energy. More Storms being used. He is trading incredibly efficiently here. Those 3-3-2 upgrades really coming into play. But now he's going to fall to the Cracklings. There is thousands of minerals here in Dragon's Bank. And Cracklings are just so good. But this has been such a good game from LML. Such a good game by Dragon as well. The Reaver's going to be defending from the high ground. Plague going down on the Nexus. He is out of mining bases. He cannot afford a Nexus anymore. And his units are going down. This lone Dark Archon, he is walking to a position to see what is upon him. What the Zerg have done to his homeworld. GG! LML taps out and Dragon takes game number 1. So that is the end of game number 1. It's quite a long game. I need to reload the overlay as well, so I'll be back in a few minutes and see you guys in game number 2. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to be heading into game number 2. We do have Eriador here, Liquid Drone, if you don't know him by his current name. Eriador, a very strong player from Norway, has been playing since the dawn of the game's creation. Rumor has it that Eriador has been playing before the game was even thought up, more than 50 years ago in the past. But basically, Eriador, a very, very strong Zerg and Protoss player, much like Dragon is a race picker, is mainly random, because random isn't allowed in the STPL. He plays Zerg and Protoss mainly, so he's picked those. His opponent, fighting for NaS, is going to be StRyKeR. He's only played one game so far, where he did meet Aeternum on Paradise, which is one of our Season 4 maps. Aeternum obviously came out in the last series, won both of his games, including winning the ace match for ReV. So StRyKeR definitely getting a powerful win there. We are going to be heading into our second map, which is going to be Blindside. Blindside, a 2-player map with a 12 and 6 o'clock spawn. Blindside, a pretty fun map to watch so far. The map test tournament games on it were definitely some of the best that we had. And overall, just it looks like a really, really fun map. Basically, the way the map works is you have a path around the left-hand side of the map, a path directly through the middle, and then there's a path for the other player on the right-hand side. It's quite segregated. The bases are quite far away from each other, but it's also quite easy to defend them, depending on where you have your army. And there's also the forests, like on Whiteout as well, which make things a little bit better. Now, the good thing is, I'm glad this game was hosted on top versus bottom, because the colors we got were just awful. But that is where the top versus bottom rule comes from. We are going to get into game number 2. Let's get going. Okay, starting us up here in the red, fighting as our Zerg player in this game for NaS, it's StRyKeR from the US of A. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom middle, fighting for red. It's Eriador, aka Liquid Drone, in the blue as our Protoss player. Did you get yours at Tracy's? I went to Tracy's Armory. That's where I got mine. Okay, so it looks like Eriador gonna go for a Forge Fast expand most likely from this. He's not... No, sorry, you usually gateway expand if you go back with your probe, right? There's probably gateway expanding. Forge, you usually send your probe straight away after going for the pylon. Unless I've got that around the wrong way. It's been a while since I've casted. Now, the main entrance into the map actually has a ramp going up and down. This does have high ground, which if you can hold, makes it a little bit easier to defend your ramp. But the main and the natural are on the same ground. Yeah, there's just the ramp going up and down that stops that. Okay, Eriador's actually going for Nexus first, so this is definitely interesting. Maybe he assumed that StRyKeR would go for a hatchery first, and he's trying to counteract that. Looks like StRyKeR sending a drone around here, going for the side path for some reason. I don't know what his plan is with this drone. Maybe he's looking for proxies or something just to make sure. I guess he didn't see a probe either, so maybe just wanting to double check. Can actually proxy hatch up here as well, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that this game. Blindside, definitely one of the maps I'm looking forward to seeing the most games on. Now looks like the drone is going to find the probe, see the gateway and the forge. But I don't think he saw the Nexus. But surely he must know about the Nexus, right? He's pulled back. But that could be a risky scout. If he didn't see the Nexus here, this could be problematic. But I guess, to be fair, the Overlord is going to come in and see it anyway. Unless he doesn't go over. Like, if it doesn't go over far enough... Oh man, what if he just never knows about the Nexus? He's going to find out about the Nexus when he sees the probes transferring. That is a very unfortunate set of scouting from StRyKeR here. Now, Eriador with his probe in the base, not really being too annoying, but is going to try and keep this alive as long as possible. The Overlord's going to see the probes going, so he's going to be like, wait, I was up against Nexus first. But is he going to do anything to try and counter this? He's not gone for mass slings or anything. I mean, by this point you've already got the cannon, so that's not going to really help too much. He did go for his third hatchery on location, but that's fairly normal anyway. At least in modern ZvP, I would say. It looks like Eriador. Is he getting ready to like proxy a robo up here, or go for maybe a hidden nexus? That could be quite interesting. Looks like the probe may be going in for a later scout. Maybe just sending this up here just in case this probe in the main dies. But there's even a proxy location here as well, which can be quite good to go for if you don't get hit by the Rhinodon. Interesting that he sent double probes. I guess he just thought that his first probe would die a little bit quicker. Kingdom saying in chat, the Nexus first is only greedy because it dies to 9 pull but does fine against other builds, which is fair enough. Stargate coming in for Eriador down here. Layer is done, of course, for StRyKeR. No Hydra Den just yet, so we're not going to see a Hydra roll in or anything like that. StRyKeR going to play a little bit kind of like how Dragon does, where he's just going to play it quite straight up. Could probably go for a macro game. But I do wonder if Eriador is going to try and answer this with his own form of all-in, or if he's going to try and play macro as well, because we could end up with another really long PvZ. And if there's another Protoss player who is bound to use Dark Archons, it's going to be Eriador. Eriador is so good, he is so creative, and uses units in ways that a lot of other players, including pro players, don't use them. Like, Eriador's Queen usage in PvZ, in ZvP, sorry, is very, very good. It really impresses me whenever I see it. He also uses Queens against Bio sometimes as well, not that we get to really see that too much. Because it's not often we get to see him ZvT in the STPL. The last one I can really remember was the one he played against Radley on Holy World SE back in... That was back in Season 2. But the last one he actually did play was on Monty Hall SE against Hit 'em Up. So that was in June. And he won that one, so... This is, of course, this Protoss is a PvZ, so we'll have to see how he does with maybe Dark Archons, Dark Templar, High Templar. You know the score if you've seen PvZ before. We've got the 4th hatchery coming up, 5th hatchery coming up as well, so it's going to be 5 hatch Hydra. Very, very standard macro build coming in here from StRyKeR. Obviously losing one of those Overlords a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. If Eriador can get this one as well, though, that'd be pretty good. And looks like he's going to be able to find it. His Corsair is definitely going in the right location to try and go for those. The Zealot's getting ready to move out on the map. +1. 2/3 of the way done. So by the time he gets to his opponent's base, +1 will be finished. +1 air weapons almost done as well. But even then, doesn't look like Eriador is planning on going for any big timing attacks or anything. He's just sitting back home, getting his macro going, getting his probe count up, getting his gateway count up, and just playing a very standard game. He's already got 3 or 4 Corsairs, sorry, which is pretty good. It really deters StRyKeR from really being able to do anything with Mutalisks, which is good for him. We've got Overlord speed coming in already, Hydra speed just about to finish up, Hydra range now starting. And an Evo chamber already going with +1 attack. We're kind of looking at like a no rush 10-minute game at the moment, with both players just kind of macroing back up at home. Now just while we're waiting for everything to go on, these grey blocks are like on whiteout, they are vision blockers, which means if you push through, it's very difficult to see what's going on. Now the zealots are going to take the easier path through the middle of the map here. There is a path without any vision blockers whatsoever, and it goes directly through the middle. Now this is fine to send little guerrilla attack forces through, but you're not going to be able to get a big attacking force over that bridge, which means to take a big army through the middle of the map, you have to go over through the line of sight blockers. But here we go, looks like Eriador going to come in, but StRyKeR has so many units up here to defend this already. The Corsairs have done a lot of damage to the Overlords, but it's not quite enough to supply block him yet. Eriador's Zealot's actually going to get out the other side somehow, even against all of those Hydras going to run away. Oh, and he senses weakness. He knows not too many Hydras have actually followed him. There's a lot of Hydras going through the map, thinking he could cut him off, not expecting Eriador to turn back once again. And looks like he is just kind of keeping StRyKeR on his toes. Going to block this fourth base from going up. Nearly getting that drone. The drone going to come back again though. Wants to expand as soon as possible. Eriador still only on those two bases. Someone's saying, is this on ×2? Or Buena saying, is it on ×2? I'm not sure. It doesn't feel like it's ×2. I wonder if it... You know what? I wonder if it is. I don't think it is. Like, if I do D for down, right? That seems slow to me now. Is this normal speed? That is really weird. ×2 just felt like normal Brood War for me. I guess like I got used to it from watching it long enough. My bad. ×2 and through the ZVPs. Damn, you found me out. No, but it just looked normal. It looked normal, now it looks slow. How did I press U though? I must have pressed U when trying to do something. That is really weird. I was just thinking they were playing really speedy, I don't know. It looks like the third base though is going to get cancelled out here. There's a lot of Hydras. There is a lot of High Templar, but the Storm's just not coming out. There we go, some brilliant Storms to help defend this third base. The probes going to be pulled away. They did get sent a little bit early to mine, but there's not much Storm left, and there's now Lurkers in between him and his third base, and there's no Observers just yet. So his units are in a lot of trouble here. They cannot see the Lurkers, and they have to fall back. And these Lurkers are going to be causing a lot of trouble. He doesn't have any Observers to be able to deal with this. And look at the amount of Hydras running through the map right now. There's so many Hydras heading towards his third base. And is he going to be able to get into a position to be able to defend this? I'm not sure he can. Eriador doing a very good job so far, but StRyKeR coming in with so many units. This is going to be so tough to be able to hold on to, but if anyone can do it, it's Eriador. The king, the granddaddy of Brood War, been playing longer than the game has been released, essentially. The Corsairs still alive over here on the right-hand side, unable to really do too much, but looks like the third base is going to go down. And losing this third base is a pretty big deal for poor Eriador. He needs this base to be able to do any semblance of macro behind this. He's going to be stuck back on two bases. He pulls out with some Dragoons. They will go down to the Lurkers. And do we even have an observatory yet? I don't think we do. We've only got the robo facility so far. The observatory only now coming up. And there's going to be a big strong Lurker contain coming towards him. And look at how many Lurkers are being added on. 5 immediately. Eriador doing a pretty good job with his Corsairs, trying to snipe some of these Overlords, but he's down in supply. And just from the minimap you can see this. There's so many Hydras absolutely everywhere. 2-0 attack already finished on range. 2-1 done for Eriador, though. Very, very well done on his upgrades. But it's that age-old question of once you get Lurker contained, how the hell do you win a PvZ? Eriador is going to have to show us how, otherwise he is going to get starved to death here on his 2 bases, and one of them is going to be over halfway done, so he is on a timer now. He has to find a way to deal with this Overlord, or with this Lurker contain. We see even the pro Protoss players failing at this at the highest level. Lurker contains are so strong and so hard to break that I think Eriador is going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, just to bring up, when Red have faced NaS before, they've faced them 3 times, they've only won once, and they've lost twice. So, NaS proving, at least historically, to be a little bit stronger. Obviously, that's not too big of a game size, but as every single season adds up, that will continue to grow and grow and grow. Looks like he's going for that Lurker, but he doesn't quite get it. Oh no! The Zealot not quite fast enough. The High Templar, there we go, GG. Eriador taps out. He knows he can't do anything about that Lurker contain, and he hangs in the towel as we get ready for game number 3 when we get back after this short break. See you guys soon. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going to be heading into game number 3 of Red versus NaS. We currently have here for Red its best. It's not the best, but he has played in the STPL before. This is going to be Red's best. I'm not sure of his Korean name. I know Customuse was asking for that earlier. But he is like a Korean amateur. I don't think he's like even what people consider like Korean amateur level. So he does. I don't even know if he goes for stuff like ASL, but he does play for Red. He took a break for season 3, but he's back again in season 4, which is a lot of fun. Maybe Last will come back as well. The Red Last they had, who was a Terran, he was always fun to watch as well. But Best has done okay so far in the STPL, but has played a lot of games, had lost a lot of games as well. But he's played against some very strong players and Yaj. But he did beat Venom in his last game. Those old games were from 2018, so they were a very, very long time ago. Is this a renewed Best? Is this the player that can carry Red into the series? They are currently 2-0 down. They need to win this game. Looks like we've got dsaqwe for NaS. He is fighting from Croatia. He did play on Ashe last season, but switched to NaS for this one. But, I mean, he did win his last game as well. So both of these players have won their latest game, which is the one that counts the most. That was in week 1. So they both got a renewed sense of enthusiasm moving forward. dsaqwe has famously beaten Koga on Lamantra as well. If I remember rightly, he proxy DT'd. And he won with that, so I'm interested to see how he's going to play in a PvP. He's played 3 of them so far. He won his last one against Scarfs, but it definitely wasn't a normal game. It was one of the weirdest PvPs I think I've ever seen. But let's have a look at the map they're going to be going into. It is one of our maps from Season 1. Best, I think, actually may have... I don't think he played on this, but he did play on this round of Season 1. It was over 2 years ago now. But really, really cool to see this back again. One of my favorite maps. I was hoping we'd get more Terrans here, because this is a very, very good map for Terran. We don't get many TvTs in STPL, and we don't get many Terrans in general. So I was thinking, I'll put a nice Terran map in, the teams will send some Terrans, and there's nothing but PvP. Same with every single map in the STPL, but we did have some varied matchups in Season 1, so hopefully that will continue in Season 2. It's going to be a PvP for now, but that's not the end of the world as we get into game number 3. Okay, starting us off down here in the bottom right-hand corner, fighting for NaS, it's dsaqwe. And his opponent spawning up here for Red in the magenta, spawning in 12. It is Red's best. Now dsaqwe really wondering if Best is in Korea. I'm assuming he asked on Allied chat before and he realized, which is why he's asking again. But Best doesn't want to talk to him. He's not interested, he doesn't care, he just wants to play the game. I respect that. Oh, he's... dsaqwe is just assuming that Best isn't responding to him because he's got Allied chat on, but he's probably not responding. That's kind of funny. Yeah, top versus bottom leads to these situations, but top versus bottom is a good way to host the games, and it is the rule of the STPL. So... Okay, so it is a PvP, both players going for essentially mirror builds, and I've just realized that I hadn't actually shared one of our sets of lineups, so Grast, if you're still around, I know it's quite late in Bulgaria now, but if you are still around, I will share your lineups with Wiko as soon as I finish the cast. I knew there was someone I forgot. But all the lineups for week 3 have been shared so far. A lucky noob is saying it's 5 minutes to 1 AM. Oh, you must be on the same time zone as Estonia then. I've been hanging around with a guy from Estonia recently, and he's 2 hours ahead as well. I guess you're both quite close to Russia, right? I guess that makes sense. Estonia kind of in between Russia and Finland, I think, or at least it borders kind of both. And I know that Estonian is apparently quite similar to Finnish, but it's different. Like, it sounds similar, but like, if you're an Estonian, you're not going to really understand a Finnish person properly, and vice versa. I guess the languages came from the same place. I wonder how close it is to Karelian, though. I know rOuta has probably gone to bed, because he is also +2, I think. And he woke up at 5 AM this morning. But either way, it's a PvP. Looks like we've not got too much crazy going on at the beginning. We've got double gateways coming in for dsaqwe. One gateway into a citadel immediately for Best. So Best is going to be going for some very fast DTs. And that means we could have a very, very fast game on our hands. If dsaqwe does not go for a forge or an observatory, forge is definitely less common, but it is a possibility, then we are going to see this game ending within the next couple of minutes, I would say, once the Templar Archives is done. He's got the robo coming up, but is he going to be able to get the observatory in time? Is he going to go straight into Reavers? Is he going to play this greedy? Or is he going to play this sensibly? He did not get a scout on his opponent. Well, he scouted, but before the Citadel came in. And he's not going to be able to get back in there again. Templar Archives already on the way up. Second and third gateway coming in as well. Best is going to pump 3 DTs at the same time. And 3 DTs do so much damage. I wonder even if you've got an observer if you can stop them. Now looks like Probe is going to go down from Best, trying to get into dsaqwe's base, but realistically he doesn't really care. He's just kind of seeing how many units there are. Now the one benefit for dsaqwe is he does have this ramp to defend. But there's still all the observatory is coming in. Oh man, is he just going to hard counter this? It's always so funny seeing builds like this because it makes the games look so one-sided. Like, Best has to win this game. If Best wants Red to have a chance in this series, much like Michael did in the pSi series, he's going to have to win this game and keep the dream alive for his team. But his build is being hard-countered. dsaqwe has just immediately gone for observers. He didn't play greedy and go for Reavers immediately. And that's going to help him win. Because how do 3 DTs break this ramp? I would think that 3 DTs in one go could probably break quite a few units. But he's not even pushing with all of his DTs. He's just sending one in. This is going to show that this DT isn't going to do anything. And he's building a cannon at his ramp. I don't know if he's misunderstood that dsaqwe is going for his own DTs. Oh, but this could be clever. He's pulling the observer away from the main base. Just unfortunately for him, his other DT was back at home defending. Now a 4th gateway coming in. This is a massive all-in from Best. He is going to put all his eggs in one basket, go for a lot of gateway units, and try and win the game that way. The DTs are out of range of the observers and will be for quite a while. dsaqwe is going to have to play this carefully. He doesn't want to get himself killed by leaving his base too early. And oh no, here we go. Looks like, oh, he's just about going to see that DT, but here comes the set. Oh my god, this is so clever. He's bringing the second DT in from behind. There's a Reaver on top of the high ground though. Can he squeeze through these zealots? Looks like he can't. The DT is going to get caught off guard here. And that was a very nice defense by dsaqwe, really saving himself the game there, because that could have been pivotal. If that DT had got up the ramp, that would have been game over essentially. But luckily enough for dsaqwe, he has managed to defend for now. But can he defend the 4-gate? The 4-gate, the follow-up, going to be very strong. Obviously this cannon eating into that, not really going to be doing too much. And he's actually going into Storm. Oh wait, maybe he's making an Archon. There's no way he's got Storm already, right? That would be insane. Wait, no, he's... Okay, he has left an Observer back home. Here we go, looks like he is pushing out with the Observer and the Dragoons. This is a mistake here. If he gets these units caught off guard, that's going to be it. But here we go, the second DT going to go down to the Reaver. Nope, gonna survive. DTs are very strong units. A good skill we have. And Best isn't gonna all in. He's gonna expand. Looks like he's gonna double expand as well. This is such an odd PvP. Like, I thought Best was just gonna go major all in because his first all in failed. But rather than that, he's gonna try and play super greedy behind this. I'm not so sure that's gonna work, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Yeah, he is able to see that pylon from out here, but the Dragoons are too stupid to sit there and fire at it, so one of his Dragoons is going to run off and die. That's a little bit unfortunate, not keeping an eye on his units. Maybe using that to scout, but that's definitely not something you want to waste your... You don't want to waste money like that on scouting. Now the Probe and the 2 Zealots, they mean business here. They're coming to clean up this army, and there's nothing you can do about it. But looks like dsaqwe not going to even bother trying to save them. He's like, they're going to die eventually anyway. A DT from dsaqwe though coming in. There's no cannon on the low ground. GG, Best taps out. And dsaqwe wins game number 3. Okay, we're going to go for a very, very quick break. And when we get back, we're going to be going into game number 4. Okay guys, welcome back. We're going into game number 4 of this series. NaS have taken down Red 3-0, but can they make it 4-0? This game on paper is going to be the most lopsided game of the series, I think, at least in terms of MMR and ELO wise. It's Terra versus rOuta, and essentially, I mean, when you compare the two, rOuta hasn't really been in any major foreign tournaments. He did run, and I think he played in his own rOuta's Weird Map League, which Tai2 won in the end, if I remember correctly, which was really, really fun. That tournament was great. But rOuta, like me, likes old weird maps that no one likes playing, so it's really, really cool. And when he saw this map and he saw his opponent, he said to me that he had something planned. Now, when someone tells you they have something planned, you know it's got to be good. He has planned this to specifically try and kill Terra here. And whether or not it works is going to make him a hero, or it won't make him a zero, because no one really is expecting him to beat Terra. So he shouldn't feel too bad if he loses. But if he can win, can he do what Squall did for Ashe by taking down True Touch? Can rOuta take down Terra? Let's find out as we get into game number 4. Okay, starting us off here in the top left-hand position, fighting for NaS. It's the Peruvian powerhouse himself. It's Terra. And his opponent already sending a probe across the map, fighting in the magenta for red. It's rOuta from Finland. I can't say his name properly. It's like rOuta. I can't do it. I can do Hirmu, but even that's probably wrong. But look at this. rOuta going with the proxy pylon right outside of Terra's base. If Terra scouts this, this is going to be interesting. It should be... I think the workers scout through the middle of the map to begin with. So will Terra check this? He's got his SimCity going up in his main. rOuta. Apparently, like you would say, rOuta. rOuta. Like that? Am I putting too much accent on for no reason? Oh, O is like English O. rOuta. I don't know. Oh my god, Forge Gateway. Forge and a Gateway from rOuta here. He is going to be playing this incredibly weirdly. He's going to come in for a scout at a normal timing. Terra has still not left his base. He's gone for the gas as well. No gas steal coming in from rOuta because he's going for what he can. Which is oh my god, he's going to cannon in the main base. He's going to cannon push. No way. Is this going to work? Oh my god, if this works, this would be so cool. Terra going for a scout now. Is he going to see this? I don't think he's going to see the cannon coming up at the very least. He may see the gateway. No, he's not even going to see the gateway. Is this going to be it? He's going for another pylon in front of the cannon. The Zealot is coming out. And the factory is only a third of the way done right now. The Marine coming down, and he's still not going to see it. He sees the... oh my god, he sees the Zealot leaving his base. And look at this. He sees the cannon coming up at his main. Oh my goodness, Terra is probably so confused. But rOuta coming in with something here. Very specifically prepared to fight against Terra. Is it going to work? He's protecting his cannon with the other cannon. The probe needs to stay alive though as well. But if the... oh my god, if the... oh, he's pulled all his SCVs. He has to. He has to hold. He has to kill the cannon before it goes down. The Zealot's getting on top of the Marines. The cannon still coming up. It's going to go down though, but how many SCVs are going to die before this happens? Another Zealot coming in. Terra down to 8 SCVs. The next cannon coming in, but a vulture could be the game changer here. Another Zealot going to be running up here. The cannons though, the second cannon about to finish. It's right by the factory, but rOuta has nothing defending at home. If Terra just runs across the map with this vulture, he's gonna kill all the probes. He can't build anything to block the vulture. I think this is it. He's going to try and get a cannon back at home, but is it going to come in quick enough? Now the factory has been forced to relocate. The probe is dead. The cannons are going to be killing one of the only supply depots that Terra has, but it looks like Terra may have held this. I think rOuta is just going to die. He came with such a cool idea. But unfortunately, maybe, I think he should have killed those units. I think he probably should have killed those units before running in. He is going to get the vulture though. Oh my god. That zealot is a hero. Oh, but it goes down, but he gets the vulture. It's 11 probes against 9 SCVs. The forge is unpowered, but it doesn't matter. Another probe is coming out, an SCV chasing in hot pursuit, a cannon coming up in the mineral line, and in the weirdest game, oh, he left. Oh, he left. Our hero left the game. The Finnish hero has been taken down, and the Dodo will not be freed. But that was such a close, such a cool cheese by rOuta to come in and try and do. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and Terra will be the one at the end of the day standing tall at the end of that. But really, really nice try. rOuta came in with something that was very, very good. And it just didn't work, unfortunately. But I am so glad we got to see that. Because at the end of the day, he tried, you know? And he did a damn good job of it as well. I'm really, really proud of rOuta for coming in with something so cool, I must admit. So let's head on over to the results, and then we will clean up the stream and close it all off for the evening. But I've had fun. Hopefully you guys had fun as well. Obviously we've had a lot of like different changes in the season 4 and stuff like that. So it's always fun to see how things are going to go. But let's give the win to Terra. I always want to give the win to rOuta anyway. But that was a nice hold by Terra. Unfortunately, if rOuta had maybe had another probe, or maybe the cannon was a little bit further over, it would have been okay. But he kind of bet all on that working, and it just didn't work in the end. So let's have a look at the results just as we bring that up. Help if I was off of studio mode so I can actually change the thing. Here we go. Here is the results for this series. It's another 4-0 in favor of NaS. This is their second 4-0 of the season so far, so that's going to put them currently at the top of the charts, the top of the leaderboard. Nothing really more to say about that other than NaS are just a really good team, so it's eventually, I mean, it makes sense that they would be in a good position. But the 4-0, I mean, some of the games were very, very close. Dragon versus NML was, I would arguably say, the best game of the season so far. Definitely worth watching if you did miss that. And outside of that, we do have... so what else was there? So we had Eriador versus StRyKeR, which was in itself a very good game as well. The only thing with that one, of course, was the fact that essentially... Eriador got Lurker contained at the end of it. StRyKeR did a very, very good job. After that, we had, of course, Best versus dsaqwe. Best went for a very, very quick all-in, but unfortunately, it didn't pay off for him in the end of it all, and dsaqwe got it back with a sneaky DT of his own. And just overall, I would say that we had a pretty good series there. It does look one-sided when you look at the results at the end of it all. But as with any game of Brood War, it can happen. There's not really too much you can do about it. And you just have to see how it goes. So, a big shout out to our sponsors, of course, Esport Fund, for giving us $1,000 to the prize pool. Anyone who has contributed through Matcherino already. And there is still plenty of codes to be used. So head on over to the Matcherino link. One second, so let me just quickly bring up the Matcherino link for you. But there is the Matcherino link. Head on over, hit the code in STPL S4. You can add 50 cents directly to the prize pool and help us get to our $2,000 prize pool goal. We've had some really, really nice donations from Caspas and Grey Shades, as well as Masoka, to bring our contribution total up to $1,229 so far. And if we can get the $2,000 goal again, that would be amazing. That would be 2 seasons in a row that we've made it. But big thank you to everyone who tuned in once again. A huge thank you to our patrons as well. There's going to be a patron video in just a second to go through the tiers. But essentially, you can give $2 a month. I think it's either $2 or $2.50 a month to get access to all the replays from this season. And if you donate $5 a month, you get access to all the replays of the STPL so far. That's over 1,000 games. As a matter of fact, how many games is that now? Let's have a look. How many sets are in the database? Because there is a lot now. There is 1,518 games in the STPL. There's some walkovers in there as well, but you're going to be getting around access to around 1,400 and I'd say 1,500 replays, 1,490 replays for your $5. So I'd say that's good value. And there's some pro replays in there as well from like Mind Best, Shine, 815, and players like that. So really, really cool. See you guys on Wednesday for Seoul versus Wico. Same time, same place. I'll see you guys there. If you're watching this, you're watching the STPL. Hopefully you've been enjoying what you've seen so far. If you want to help me make more STPL content to bring more tournaments to you, please support us on Patreon, which you can find up here. And also, there's so many different things you can get through Patreon. One of the main and one of the easiest ones to get is, of course, access to all of the replays of the STPL so far. We've had some amazing games, such as some of the games you can see just over here.